Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today I'll be talking about building product-focused data science teams or analytics teams. Data science is a very loosely used term, so analytics, data science doesn't matter. A little bit of background about myself. My name is Kishen Jayanti. I'm a data science lead at Anthem. It's a health insurance company, if you didn't know. I have been there for about a year. I lead a team of data scientists and engineers. I've been in the data science and analytics space for about 6 years now. I spent a lot of time in marketing analytics, building data science models and solving digital marketing problems, etc. So, and this is a topic which I'm very passionate about because I really think that we as data scientists, I've been an analyst and data scientist for a long time before managing teams, and I know that we need to have that product focus, that mindset, and I want to talk about how to get there, pointers on how to get your team there. Hopefully, you'll be able to get some insight from this presentation. Right. Next, how do you move it? Okay, cool. So, what does it mean to be product focused, right? I did put it in the title saying, "Hey, product focused," but what does that mean? I can summarize it in one line. According to me, it's like always be thinking about what's my product, like what is it that I am, building or selling all the time, because that's what most people do, right? Most companies have products, otherwise they wouldn't exist. So why wouldn't data science teams, right? Why reports? Why dashboards? We should have all these are growing, continuously growing products. I would say we as employees are products, right? When we get hired, our hiring manager kind of makes a case of investing in us. So everything in life, at least I think of as a product, and kind of sell yourself and sell whatever we can. So have that mindset is what is being product focused all about. So why build products, right? In data science, companies build products. Every company has a product. So, I'm not going to talk about that, but what are the advantages of building solutions and products kind of used interchangeably? This kind. What's the use, right? So one of the few points. First thing is products are iterative, right? They have a longer lifespan and are much easier to scale. So versus an analysis, which a lot of the analytics teams I've worked with in the past and I know of do a lot of ad hoc stuff. They might do a dashboard or two. But nobody kind of focuses on, hey, this is our product and we're going to keep enhancing this thing over and over again. Some people do, and I'm not saying they don't, but this is something which us as a data science community can come together and kind of think about, right? Because a product doesn't have to be perfect. You can have versions of it. You can start at a point where you're solving a small part of the problem and keep expanding upon it. As I mentioned before, it's continuously evolving solution, right? Versus on the other hand, and I've seen this in the past, where teams do analyses for a certain stakeholder, and okay, done and dusted, the stakeholder's happy, and they come back in again, like, oh, can you do that for us again? Like, okay, cool, we did that a month ago, remember? But it's happened. It happened in my life, and I've seen it happen multiple times. Is, hey, what about that metric you pulled, or what that analysis you did like about a year ago? Now, either that person's gone from the team, or nobody remembers what was done. If initially when this request came in, somebody thought, okay, let's think what can we answer? How can we help here? How can we build a product here? And say, okay, this is the metric which we will start with. We'll add more stuff to it, and there's always a constant interaction with the business. And I mean, even if it's not too much of your time, even if you spend like, I don't know, like probably 15, 20 minutes a week to maintain the dashboard at the simplest, in the simplest case, that's fine, as long as it's a continuously evolving thing where the business has you in mind, so they know that you are trustworthy, they can come to you, and also you keep improving it and doing something over time, right? So that's one benefit of having products, right? And also very easy to scale. Like if you already built one version of the product, you know how to do it for a different use case, and you keep iterating. You can scale your team. Let's say you have one pod, which like data scientists, engineers builds a product, and then like, okay, fine, let's get more funding. And then you know that you already done this in a certain way, and you can expand that to a different product with maybe different people or the same people. So it's very, very easy to do that when you have that product mindset. The other reason, which is very important, especially when you're trying to get that funding, is it's very easy to assign value and calculate the ROI for a product, and like specific analyses or different models that you've built or one-off things or stuff which you run on a regular basis. Let's take an example, right? Let's say I have built a model to calculate the lifetime value of a customer. And that's cool. We did it once. We keep probably updating it once in a while. The people who are using it, they take the lifetime value and try to get more customers like that. It's in the most simplistic manner, but again, assigning ROI to it is really difficult. I mean, it can be done, but it's not something which is easy to get to. Whereas if you have a solution, in this example where, let's say, a claim comes in and you're trying to predict if it's fraudulent or not, in this case, you can kind of put in an equation saying, hey, my ROI is calculated by number of fraud cases I denied based on the model, times the accuracy times the cost of a median mean, depends on the data, cost of that fraudulent case, right? And this basically this continuously evolves. This changes. You can expand it to a year, to 2 years, to a month, depending on how you're trying to project. And you have multiple levers which you can change to improve the product. Like if I want to make this better, I have to increase the accuracy, or increase the number of cases I can predict, basically increase in scope. It might so happen that maybe for some reason there is a sudden influx of a lot of fraudulent cases. That means that part of the equation will change and your ROI will update. So it's very easy to keep track of what you're saving the company, or what money you're making for the company, because people keep talking about this whole analytics teams need to be profit centers rather than cost centers, which makes sense. So, but we cannot be that unless we continuously keep track of what we are doing for the company, apart from just support them for data needs, right? And the other thing, I mean, this thing is something I've noticed in my teams, is being product focused, especially because you want to continuously improve something which you've built, brings in new and innovative ideas, because you will hit a bottleneck at some point, and when you hit a bottleneck, the existing ideas will not suffice. So people find out new ways to bring in either new data, or think of cool ways of solving the problem using different algorithms. So it kind of makes the team more innovative. And also because you own that solution, and you get a constantly the business saying, hey, good job, right? And you are seeing the ROI go up, and you're seeing what impact you're making. on the business, there's a sense of ownership and achievement, which makes the team more productive and more keen to work on that more and more. I spoke about the benefits of it and what it means, but how do you get there? Apart from just that, having that mindset, as I keep speaking about, it's very, what you see here probably is very standard analytic process, right? We do parts of it without knowing we're doing it. But when you put it into like a flow diagram and say these are different parts of the work we do, it kind of makes sense, right? There is this whole ideation session where we are trying to figure out what the solution is, what the problem is, what the solution should be, kind of bring together requirements and talk to the business, figure all that stuff out, and then we have the actual building of the solution, then putting the cogs around it with engineering. And then obviously the most important part, according to me, is experimenting, testing, and learning continuously and improving your solution. Now, there are a few pointers for each of these different parts, which I like to keep in mind. Like, for example, in ideation, think like one thing comes up is people tend to make the solution the most complicated in the world. You don't need it. Sometimes you can just give the simplest solution to a problem that works as long as the problem's solved. You don't need a complex neural network if you can actually use 3 or 4 rules to solve the problem. So always be thinking of the simplest possible solution that can be done in the shortest possible time. The other thing, when you are trying to think of a problem from a solution or a product perspective, is can we use this to solve more than one problem, right? Is there other parts of the company which have the same issue? Is there other teams which have the same problem? Can we use the same model, or you can use the same dashboard to expand to another use case, right? Is it scalable? It's really important to keep that in mind, because you can kind of bake that into your build when you set out. It doesn't have to be perfect in the beginning, doesn't have to be perfect in version 1, but you always know where you're going. You have a roadmap. The build, this is pretty self-explanatory, because it's basically where you're building your solution, whatever that might be. Building a model, building a dashboard, doing an analysis, building a metric which is sent on a regular basis, whatever be it. And one point there is always think about scalability, right? We spoke about it in ideation. It's just, you have to make it scalable if you want it to be a successful product. Because if you make something which kind of hits its potential in, I don't know, like a month, then that's it. It's analysis, it's done. But always think about it. Then comes engineering. Engineering, in my perspective, is very different to what it might be in standard, analytic teams. But I think about it as the cogs which keep the whole project together. We build end-to-end AI pipelines. So we kind of have the model sitting within a bucket where you can actually call using APIs. And that's engineering in one sense, but it also can be just data in, data out, right? If it's just a simple solution where you're building a dashboard, then it's, hey, how do we get the data in? Do we need to get a source additional data? Stuff like that is engineering. It's really important to get the whole solution together, right? Now, engineering teams sometimes are separate to the analytic and data science team. Sometimes they are part of it. And I'll speak about it in the next slide. But and testing and learning, and this, I don't have to reiterate too much about this, always be testing, right, and experimenting, reinforcing your models. And most important thing, you need to fail fast, right? I mean, you can't spend your like 2 or 3 months building a model. If you think you have done even a minor, increment to solving the problem, deploy it, test it, see how it does in production, and keep doing that again and again. If that whole fail fast mentality is really important to get you noticed by your stakeholders and get things done really quickly. Because failure is not a bad thing. Failure is learning, and I believe in it. And all of us should, as data scientists, know that, I mean, sometimes stuff doesn't work, and that's fine. So, but you keep trying, right? So as I said, the other part to this, apart from the actual how to do this process, is how do you build the teams, right? I mean, there's various ways to do it, and there's no perfect way. It depends on the organization. It depends on various different things, right? But a couple of examples here is having product pods, right? Where you have the product leader, and then you have multiple solution leads, and then you have, depending on the type, if it's like a data science organization, you'll have engineers, scientists, and analysts kind of sitting together under that lead and building a product. One product, two products, multiple products. This is easy to scale because what you need is good people like data scientists, engineers, and a good solution lead who understands the whole thing. So it kind of depends on those leads there to make sure the products are going in the right direction. The other side is the functional pod arrangement, where there are separate pods for data science, engineering, analysis, and there's some advisors helping them out. So, I mean, that works for different organizations if they're already structured that way. But I mean, the pros and cons of these, like the product pods kind of help scale better versus functional pods. It's just every time you want to do something new, you kind of have to, retrain a little bit. That's what I've noticed. But at the end of the day, I mean, whatever the structure might be, it's always important. And this is something which I heard in a previous talk today, is it's always important to have good people than having a very large team. It's like, quality is way more important than quantity. So that's how probably, that examples of team structures, but I mean, not the hard and set rule. So finally, bringing everything together, like a few pointers there, like think solutions, not answers, right? Think about how do you address the big picture. Think product, not projects. Projects for me have a start and end date. Products are ever evolving. Start small, scale big, always. Fail fast, as I mentioned, and then quality better than quantity. So, I mean, hopefully this has kind of given some insight to most of you. I'm available for questions. I know we have a minute. You can reach out to me, email me, or ping me. Add me on LinkedIn if you have any questions and want to talk to me. But thanks a lot for attending, and this has been great. This has been a great conference. Thanks, the organizers and everyone. So thank you all.